to us when the technical team agreed on the option. But also, I think there is that thing that is trying to push away what we've been raising about the post office. And there was a time when I had to fight with the officials in social development, because I kept on saying, let's bring in the post office, up until the post office was called to come and present what they can provide. SASSA has 9,000 plus entities or offices for pension payouts. And the post office has 2,700 areas, including those that are agents of the post office. Most post offices are based in the old apartheid towns. And in some of the areas, they are not there. And therefore, we had agreed that we're going to sit down after doing our mapping and see areas where they could do work, so that we strengthen our pension payout. But also, I must say, Chairperson, that the way we view things is very different. Social development is about human rights. It's about the protection of our people. It's about improving on a daily basis the work we are doing. And we really learn on a daily basis. Now, amongst the options, I think Zodwa and the others will highlight the issue of the options. Amongst the options, there are those that we change the service provider and take a Green Road and make Green Road a major service provider, and the present service provider the minor. That was going to be a facelift. It was not going to be total change. That we allow all banks to procure and not use the biometrics. And what is important is that when we started using biometrics during the re-registration period, we were praised for having saved a government 2 billion. But again, we don't have to use the same biometrics. And biometrics came from the Taylor Commission. It's not our own thinking. Ours was to implement biometrics, and that worked for us, because a lot of people that were getting grants incorrectly had to be taken out of the system. But one other thing was that we had to, okay, those that deal with money, think about clients. They think about banking the unbanked. They talk about all things that are about the client and the bank. And our experience with the banks is that when they work with a person, the partnership becomes that of a bank and that person. And as we are speaking today, the banks that we once worked with, which is the Standard Bank, still owes us, including interest, 500 million. Because we had dormant accounts, and no one has come to us to say, how are you going to deal with the issue of those dormant accounts and monies that have not been paid back to the department or government? Itala Bank, including interest, they owe us something like 1.1 billion. And that matter has not been discussed. And we can't just jump and say, okay, let's go there because everyone is saying we must go there, and disregard the experience we are having. And our approach is that our work right now must change. It must be people-centered, and the payments must be taken to where our people are, so that as social development, we are not seen as a burden. The budget of 140 billion must at least go to where our communities are, so that you revolve the economy or the money around communities, and that when it goes wherever, it must have started with our communities. Right now, it's big retailers that are getting this money. I don't have a problem with that. But we must make it possible for our people to develop through this. So again, that is where the thinking is not the same. Because ours is to care. We've been given a responsibility to contribute towards radical economic transformation. And then to be able to deal with that, we must try and ensure that the whole processes and work is inclusive of our people. And more people actually that are grant beneficiaries come from where our people stay. But the same money does not go where our people stay. So, okay, it's fine that people are asking questions about the tender, when it gets terminated, what's going to happen, because we also understand that when the 31st of March come, the tender will fall off automatically. But the main elements of this have not been discussed. We've all been fighting about one element of pension payouts, fighting about the date. Even if the president says on the 1st of April, you will be paid. What I think is going on right now is that during the elections, there are those that used pensions to campaign. And then now, the same issue is used, chairperson, so as to remove the authority of the government in the eyes of our people. Because if you talk about a government that kept everyone on limbo, you are removing that government in the eyes of the people. And maybe we should wait up until the 1st of April and see if we will not be able to pay grants. And then I want to talk to the last part. Issues that we raised during negotiations. But I must say that I'm not going to talk on other areas because we're supposed to, the technical teams are supposed to meet, and then on Thursday we're going to get a full report from the officials. But I must also say that we are mindful of the fact that the Treasury has said you are going to use your present budget for the work you are supposed to be doing. You're not going to get extra money because all departments get their money through processes that all departments have to go through. I must say that we had prioritized issues of business continuity. And we had suggested that this takes 2 years, and that the first year will be used for outphasing, and then the second year will be about rolling out all the processes. And then secondly, we've also discussed the issues of monies that are deducted besides 26A, because 26A regulation says you deduct 10% only for funeral benefits or whatever. And if people want to deduct more, the beneficiary must inform the minister, and the minister must approve that. So we have also spoken about that, and also about purchases that take place through telephone purchasing, like umoya manje and electricity and water. And then we also spoke about the account, that we should open a special account that's going to disperse monies into various beneficiaries. Because what happens now is that the service provider receives money, never mind that 24 hours, there is a lot of money that is there, and you get a lot of interest because it's a day. So after a day, it goes to various provinces. And therefore, we think we now have learned what is going on. and we should distribute money, but also we must access accounts. Yeah, thank you. And then in the presentation we have made during negotiations is also we have a space for the post office. Then also what is important is the extension of the card's life, because according to the present service provider, the lifespan of the card is up to the end of March. But it can be usable up until the end of the year, because MasterCard extended, I think, to 5 years, because that is what they usually provide. And our experts that deal with payments and IT have advised us that actually we can extend the life of the card beyond this. So that would help us deal with the challenges of paying more money. We would have saved a lot of money. And then also we had 2 different call centers. Now we're going to integrate them, but also we want them to work for 24 hours, because our people have free airtime around 8 o'clock up to 12 midnight. Reconciliation of accounts, I don't want to take my chances there because I'm not an expert. SASSA transition enablement, the taking of all the biometric data, and as well as beneficiary data. And then again, they are going to talk about costing and servicing a footprint and CPS branch classification. Chairperson, I thought I should present this so that we must not think that we are running away. I think also they are going to give an account of all the things we've been doing parallel to the processes of payouts. But one other thing that I should stress is that we underestimated the work that we were supposed to do. Taking over payments is a lot of work. You have to have your own systems, because even if you say banks must pay, they don't have the facility. They get it from other companies. So if you want to deal with paying, what I'm saying now, I got from the experts. It's not a thumbs up. That is why we are working with work streams, because we have to talk about facts and also let those that understand the work scientifically lead us. And one other thing that we've done is to look for the facility of people that are well experienced on the issues of payments and issues of, is it CPI? Yes, CPI. So that, again, we don't make a mistake of overpaying for everything that we are going to use during this transitional period and moving forward. And I wish to say that 2 years is just but part of the whole process of revolutionizing SASSA. We have a 5-year plan of changing SASSA. Chairperson, Cabinet started at 9:30. I'm also supposed to give a report to Cabinet. I have given a report here, and I would like to be excused. And the matter was raised with the whip of the committee.
But this is wrong, Chairperson. This
The
is
matter
wrong.
was raised.
This minister undermines Parliament. She must be told to her face.
No, just
No,
hang
it's
on.
wrong.
No, just hang on.
No, it's wrong.
No, but there's a chairperson
just
here.
hang
You
on.
can't start shouting. Can you give to the
I'm not
chairperson?
shouting.
Yeah, just be patient.
Minister Bathabile Dlamini must be told. She can't just stand. She's packing and leaving.
Honorable Rosie.
Chairperson, can I make the comment
It's wrong.
that we find it completely unacceptable that the minister gives us 7 minutes to interrogate the minister on a very, very important issue that could
This is
affect
not
the
a
lives
church. You
of
don't
17
preach and
million
then
people.
go. We just say amen. This is not a church. You must sit there and account.
Chairperson, I don't want to be insulted. Please.
A church is hardly an insult. You are insulting us.
May I ask for your protection?
Yeah, no.
I don't
no.
want to.
True.
I don't want to be pushed to where
Yeah, no.
I'm being pushed.
No, I agree with you, comrade. Please, comrades. No. Please.
No, Chair, I think we
Please.
also need to clarify one simple thing.
Please.
This is a SCOPA meeting. Please, members who are here, they need to respect us as SCOPA. They cannot come to our meeting and disrupt our meeting. We are still waiting for that is listening to the report. We'll interrogate the report, and if they also need to raise questions, they will be given an opportunity.
Yeah,
but please let them not behave the way they are behaving.
Please. No. There's no basis for hands to be raised. I mean, the minister was just. No. Just.
Any committee chair, they are members of parliament, and this minister don't want to account. She comes in here very late, we're sitting waiting for her, and then she comes and sing what she sings here, and then she wants to leave. It can't be allowed. She needs to account. She needs to account.
No. Please.
Chair, pointing hands to the minister is wrong.
Yeah,
Can you please assist in this meeting? We cannot allow other members just to point the minister.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, comrades, please. No. Please. Ross, just put your hand down. I mean, the minister is just wrapping up. She has made a proposal that, I think that's where she was, that she would like to leave. I had not responded to that. And before I even do, comrades are all over the place. So I'm saying, please, let's not do this. And I had allowed the minister to go into a lot of details, precisely because this is what we had wanted, but also because she's also talking to the nation, so people can have a firm sense of what are the issues at hand. Now, so let's not muddy it needlessly. I do that every time we have a meeting. I don't need to be urged, you know. I don't need to be egged on. So let's just keep it. Just 1 minute. All right. Well, Comrade Minister, firstly, thanks very much for your input, and I'm sure that comrades who were here last week will attest that the reach of the minister goes way beyond what officials could present, and that's exactly what we wanted. And just to reiterate that we were very clear about the issues that require the portfolio committee and the issues that require us as the standing committee on public accounts. I think, Comrade Minister, in view of the issues that we are seeking to clarify, we will request some level of flexibility on your part. Fortunately, she will still be here to take some questions, but I think what we need to seek to manage is the time, because you have a set time, and I'm not sure if by then, because I don't know what level of questions will be there, but I am certain that at least the question that I posed at the beginning, you did talk to it. But there may be this or that issue that comrades may want to raise. Let me check from my comrades, firstly in the committee, those who have issues they want to raise. I'll tell you why once I've noted that. Is your hand up, Comrade Kikan? Comrade Kuno, is your hand up? Ross, on the substance, no longer on the politics, on the substance. All right. No, that's fine. No, that's all right. No, that's.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll be very brief.
No. I was not giving. I just wanted to be sure.
Only your members.
Well, we have to. No. I think that's a legitimate question. I want us to start there, because they called the meeting, and I've said to the chairperson, you will have the right to raise questions and to raise issues as well. But obviously, the starting point has to be the members who called the meeting. I think that's only fair. Now, that being the case, I'll start with Tim. But, in view of time, I'm not going to give you time like when you have it as a focus area. I just want you to pick on some of your best. I don't know how many questions you had, but I would like you to ask your questions, say maybe 3, 4, 5 questions. You ask them, all of them, and then the minister responds. And then we can then come to the other comrades. Comrades, please, let's not make statements so as to try and manage time. Let's ask questions. If there are no questions, then that's fine. Tim? You want to make a suggestion, yeah?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
No, my suggestion is, in view of what the minister has indicated, I would suggest that we don't deal with the other issues. We only deal with the CPS that is contracted.
Yeah. No. We're dealing with a presentation. Let's leave the other issues out.
Okay, thank you.
Lengwa?
Chair,
I've heard your ruling. I just want to find out, Uti, this question of time, how much time do we have? Because we were under the impression as the committee that we'd be having a detailed discussion, but what I'm hearing now is that we're taking a shortcut of some sort. So as we sit here now at 28 minutes past 10, how much time do we have to engage on these matters? Because that will make or break whether we're having a substantive discussion, we're just going through the motions, the sake of going through the motions, which I think on its own would be unfair. So can you be clarified on the time?
That's all right. I've made the request to the minister around flexibility of time on a part. As things stood when we had our little engagement, she is supposed to be at a cabinet committee at 11. And I'm saying it might as well be that, depending on the questions that we have, we may not necessarily have enough time for everybody to engage. So I've said we need flexibility on a part. I'm still to hear, because I would imagine might entail her talking to someone, to talk to someone, to make arrangements, and then get feedback and come back to us. So that's why I felt in the meantime, can we... Yes, Chief.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just glad that we can start. Chair, I just want to, at the outset, note my objection that we have a limited time frame. I do think this is a national crisis, and I do think the Minister should dedicate an entire day to talking to us about this matter. But be that as it may, Chair, I will proceed. Chair, you've not allowed me to do the normal to and fro cross-examination of the Minister, so I'm going to just cut to the chase on 4 or 5 salient questions. But Chair, I just want to ask that the Minister does not then cherry pick what she would like to answer. All questions must be answered. So if I could have your assistance in that regard, Chair, I would appreciate it.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, today we're speaking about where we've come from, so let's look at that. It is, it's a moot point that the Minister set up the advisory committee. It's a moot point that the Minister appointed certain people to be on the advisory committee. The question that is the burning question here, and it relates to the mandate of SCOPA, which is compliance with the PFMA and Treasury regulations, is that when the advisory committee submitted its final report in December 2014, I think it was, the Minister then instructed in a communication to Virginia Peterson, the then CEO, that certain people would be retained to run the work streams. This is a documented fact. I would like to know from the Minister, and this is question 1, how does she tie in an imperative that certain people must get the work of the work streams, must lead the work streams, and their companies must be involved in leading those work streams? How does she tie that in with the notion of a competitive bidding process? That's question number 1. Question number 2. That instruction led to various memos going back and forth in SASA requesting for a deviation of protocol, of procurement processes. What was her involvement in that, and what is her comment on that? Question number 3, does she not think it's improper that persons who served on an advisory committee were then given work to the tune of 47 million rand? Tim Sukazi, head of legal, the legal work stream, received 7 million. Patrick Monyeki, head of the RCT setup, and his company Rangewave, received 35 million. Okay? And then Mr. Pakis received just under 5 million rand. They were all on the advisory committee. And then they all received work without a competitive bidding process for that kind of money. Does she feel that's appropriate? And what I find, I'd like to tie it up with her earlier comment that she said we didn't have time to worry about these things. I really would like a response from the Minister on that. Question number 4 of the 5. is big arguments been about why we didn't go the SCOPA route, why we didn't go the bank route, and all the officials have bounced back and forth on this. Now, the ministers just said to us that they didn't go the bank route because the banks owe them all this money. The direct question to the minister and the officials here today is that if Standard Bank owe you 500 million rand, what the hell are you doing to get it back? And if Itala owe you 1.1 billion rand, what are you doing to get it back? Or, Minister, is this just a load of rubbish? That they in fact don't owe you anything? Because I'm sure they'll be very surprised to watch this telecast this morning. But that is a lot of money to be outstanding to a state department has been paid back. Is that the truth? And then finally, Minister, we need to know, what are the details of the CPS contract? What is the rate per beneficiary? You cannot walk away here today without giving us an idea of how much this new CPS contract is going to cost the South African taxpayer. And Chair, if I just may finally, there was a statement made by the Minister where she said that when SAPO were engaged, the service provider objected. The service provider is CPS. Is the Minister telling us that when there was an engagement with SAPO, CPS, who, by the way, are the holders of an invalid contract as per the Constitutional Court, and don't really have much standing, they said to the Minister, you can't be talking to SAPO. They can't come in the back door. So the question is, who's leading who by the nose here, Minister? Is CPS telling you what to do? Thank you, Chair.
Right. Thanks very much. Comrade Minister, Aul Hlengwa, can you have your best 2 or 3 questions? 2 or 3? All right, that's fine. And then after that, Comrade Minister, maybe we can respond to the 2. And then I will give Comrade Ndlozi, who is standing in for Mente, and whose hand is up this side? I'll give Kekane. Yeah, no. You will see, I want to make sure that everyone is covered. Yes, Hlengwa?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll be very brief. First question, Chair. The Minister refers to radical economic transformation. Does that actually, in this case with CPS, make any sense when we all know that CPS is white-owned, American-owned? How does that fit into radical economic transformation? Because is CPS BE compliant? Because I really don't think we need to be hard-headed and heavy-pushed to accept CPS to the extent that it grinds against the national interest in terms of what we want to achieve. So that's, if the Minister can just clarify us around the dynamics in that regard. Chair, secondly, the Minister referred to interventions which had been instituted by her predecessor, which would be the Honorable Molewa, of whom the Minister now deputized. Was she not au fait with the issues being raised at the time when she was Deputy Minister? Because then it seems as if it was all new in terms of the question of continuity. And that's where I have a problem. But, Chair, the final question is this. The issue of the Concord is secondary. As important as it is, it's secondary. In the sense that, in any case, the contract was bound to expire at some point. What preparation was done then? Because we must not hide behind the Concord as if it now added a new rush and a new agency. Because contract management then, as far as I'm concerned, would mean was not being done properly. So the Concord decision of the contract being invalid and illegal is a secondary matter. What was in place to ensure that when this contract expired, when it was, that a new contract which was in keeping with the national interest, which was in keeping with radical economic transformation, which was in keeping with ensuring that we, do everything we're supposed to do. That's why I have a problem, Chair. Okay. What was there to ensure that contract management was done accordingly before we come to the Concord? And Chair, I don't want to be seen as if I am negating the importance of the Concord, but if we want to go to root cause, let us first start there and then speak to the agency which the Concord then emphasized after. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. Comrade Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. National crisis. Chairperson, we have been saying grants will be paid on the 1st of April. And it depends how an individual sees the whole issue. There are instances before where government would deviate because of certain challenges. And we have spelled out that already when the advisory committee started doing its work, they dissected the work, analyzed the work, and then came back to us to say the time that you've set for yourselves will not be met. But also, the advisory committee benchmarked our work internationally, and there are experiences that we have from other countries. Okay. I think the information the honorable member has about the coming of the other other people from the advisory committee to the work streams is not enough. There was a meeting with all the members of the advisory committee, and I would maybe prefer that we have that minute, not only the letter, because now it looks as if we went and cooked the whole thing out. We never cooked this. We had a formal meeting. And members, for instance, the representative from the Reserve Bank said it openly, I don't have time. I have to go and do my work. So it's not like we said and said these ones must come in here. But also, yeah. Doing the work without bidding, I think they will account on that, but we did follow due processes.
Chair, I'm asking the Minister to account, not the officials.
No, Chairperson.
Comrade.
No, but...
yeah, no, it's fine.
We are all members of parliament.
Sure.
We are all members of parliament, Chair. I don't want to be diverted.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Because when people throw words, they divert you. And I'm not an expert on some of the things. And therefore, they're not going to force me to say things that are not going to be accurate and then come back and say, no, the minister lied. And then I'm asked questions, are you a liar?
All right. No, that's fine, comrade. I've heard you. And please, comrades, I'm listening to the responses. If there are any shortcomings in the responses, I will.
Yes, we did not have time. And yes, banks are going to have a role to play. That is why after the pronouncement by our DG in the press conference on the 12th of December, we raised banks will be brought on board. And they themselves responded. They sent a letter to Zodwa. I think it was a particular structure, saying they will only be ready at a particular time. We do have evidence. And then Sabo also the issue of discussing the invalid tender and having the service provider raising his concerns. These are legal matters. And if people raise legal matters, we have to handle them that way. And then we take a cue from the recommendations that come from those that advise us. Also, the issue of us not being serious and talking rubbish, I'm not going to also respond to that.
But maybe let's do this, Comrade Minister. I think on the banks, the thrust of his question was, are you seriously saying that Standard Bank and Itala owe you money? And why have you not claimed that money? Or what are you doing to get the money back?
Maybe we should give you our correspondence with them so that people can see that we are not sitting on our laurels.
Okay, now that's fine. Then on the first part of his question, it was the deviations in terms of procurement because there was no time, in terms of the advisory team, some of whom were retained to head the streams. Were the deviations done according to the PFMA or not? I think that's the thrust of his question.
Yes, that is a report I have. But after we had gone through proper processes, the Treasury raised their concerns.
And what were their concerns and what did you do about those concerns?
We then responded to them and explained what we had done.
And then it was settled.
I'm not sure if they wanted to cycle it.
No, what I mean, Comrade, is that when you explained, did they then come back and say, okay, fine, we're satisfied with the explanation, it is okay?
Did they come back, Zoto? They haven't yet come back.
All right. All right, no, it's fine. Then we can go to Hlengwa's question.
And then, for now, we've been paying CPS a capped amount of 16.44 per administration or per grant recipient.
Yeah.
And then what we are going to come up with, we have not yet agreed. And therefore, when we have our meeting with the minister, after the technical team, we will make an announcement.
All right. Okay. Continue with the questions, Comrade.
16 rand per month. Yes, and maybe I should highlight that in terms of beneficiaries, we have a plus minus 11 million. The beneficiaries. How we explain this is that Bathabile would have 5 children, and then that are grant recipients, and therefore she would have one account for herself and those children, and therefore you don't pay per person. Yes, so that is why we go up to 11 million. The issues of BEE compliance, I think, were discussed in court previously. Yes.
Honorable Chair, but I'm asking them here. I'm not in court.
No.
Right.
I'm not in court.
No, that's fine. Comrade Minister, I was going to say, sitting here as well, I'm not very clear how it was discussed in court. But maybe just to explain the status.
I think it was raised amongst the matters of BEE compliance.
Yeah.
And then issues of radical economic transformation, that's our agenda moving forward. But I would like to say, small as it is, social development has tried to use the SRD through establishing cooperatives. Up to today, we have close to 360. And when we have to deal with the issues of social relief of distress, it's those cooperatives that do children's uniforms. And then also for the SRD, vegetable crops, we buy from communities. And if people also want to see that, we can take them to where the people are. So it's something we are starting, and we will be moving forward with that. If you ask us about a radical economic transformation and this tender, I think when we signed, we never had that program in mind. And as I've said, Chairperson, in the coming tender processes, this is what we are going to do. And then the question that is being asked is taken from the presentation that talks about the future, and it's brought here to the present and the past.
Okay.
Interventions by the predecessor.
Yeah.
Yes, there were interventions, and we had to formalize our work and make it professional. Maybe this might look useless to some of us, but it is the route we had to go through so that we have confidence in what we are going to do. Yeah.
The last part is about contract management. The expiry date of the current contract was known from the beginning. Why were we not ready timeously?
Chairperson, we've explained what happened. We've said for 2 years we ran a tender, and then 2 bidders withdrew towards the end. And secondly,